I'm Scotty Connell. I'm from Kununurra in the Kimberley region of Western Australia. It's known as the last frontier. It's a very, very remote, vast wilderness area in northwestern Western Australia. More or less one of the last untouched areas of Australia, and certainly one of the most pristine wilderness areas in the world. So it's one of the least densely populated areas on Earth.
Sie hören eine Folge der Audiotravels mit Henry Barchet.
Dass die Kimberley-Region im Nordwesten Australiens eine der am dünnsten besiedelten Gegenden der Erde ist, liegt unter anderem daran, dass es hier auch extreme Wetterlagen gibt, erklärt die Wetterreporterin Sheryl Biggs vom australischen Fernsehsender Channel 9.
During summer I'm watching the cyclone season over here, so this is usually right in the firing zone of cyclones, so that's when it I guess becomes a bit more unstable and we've got low pressure systems coming down, and that's the wet season. And then it does a switch in winter, so obviously we've just come out of winter and we're going into spring. So this is the perfect time to be up here. This is, your low to mid 30s. It's not wet season yet, so it's not quite as humid as it does get. So I'm very happy to be up here at this time.
Die beste Reisezeit ist also der australische Frühling im September und Oktober, um die Region zu bereisen. Da es nur wenige asphaltierte Straßen und Pisten gibt, sind viele der einzigartigen Naturwunder der Kimberleys nur mit dem Flugzeug zu erreichen.
Okay, well, good morning everybody. My name's Emma. I'll be flying you out to the falls this morning. Plan of action, it'll take about an hour to get to the falls. We go up reasonably high, about 9,500 feet, to try and stay out of most of the bumps. So pretty flat over the Dampier Peninsula for about 40 minutes, then out over the King Sound where the Fitzroy River and Derby are. Then down over the Kimberley country to the falls. When we get over top of the falls, we'll do a couple of orbits, then land in the water there.
Das Wasserflugzeug landet in der Nähe der Horizontal Waterfalls. Hier läuft bei Flut eine Lagune, die nur durch einen schmalen Felsdurchbruch mit dem Meer verbunden ist, langsam voll. Bei Ebbe ergießen sich dann unter enormem Druck riesige Wassermassen durch den Felsspalt zurück in die offene See. Durch diesen Gezeitenunterschied von 40 Metern entsteht der horizontale Wasserfall. Louis Truchet steuert ein Schnellboot durch das aufgewühlte Wasser.
It's a lot different to a vertical waterfall. The water's not falling from a top source to a bottom. It was described by David Attenborough as a horizontal waterfall, as it's moving from one area of water to another, but the width and the depth of the waterfall is 40 meters by 7, which is about an Olympic-sized swimming pool falling through this gap every second, horizontally rather than vertically, but sort of constantly changing its size, and that's what creates it to be a horizontal waterfall.
Von den horizontalen Wasserfällen hebt das Flugzeug am späten Nachmittag ab. Nächste Landung ist die Cygnet Bay, eine Perlenfarm. Von hier aus geht es mit einem kleinen Boot durch die Buccaneer-Inselgruppe, gesteuert wird es von Captain Jamie Hornblow.
The Buccaneer Archipelago consists of over 1,000 islands. It's one of the last marine tropical wilderness areas left in the world. It's just one of the tightest clusterings of island groups anywhere in the world. It's hard to explain. It's just an amazing place. I guess come and see it, you understand.
Hier ist ein weiteres Gezeitenphänomen zu beobachten: ein Riffwasserfall.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place out in the Buccaneer Archipelago. So it's an intertidal reef that, as the tide descends and retreats, the reef is left exposed and water cascades off the top of it. So you've got about a 3-meter fall of water in the middle of the ocean cascading off the edge of this reef. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see it.
Auch die zunächst unscheinbare Roebuck Bay ist ein außergewöhnlicher Ort. Wegen des guten Futterangebots zieht es Unmengen von Seevögeln, Meeresschildkröten und Fischen in die Bucht, erklärt Skipper Cameron Birch.
So it's all about food. Most of these marine animals, it's all about food. Roebuck Bay, we call Roebuck Bay a food generating machine. We have a massive big mangrove system on one end of the bay that produces all the nutrient and planktonic rich waters that come into the bay. They are the food source for all of our bait fish. The bait fish generate into huge bait balls, and the dolphins are then dolphins, turtles, bottlenose dolphins, all of these other animals are here because of the amount of food generated by Roebuck Bay.
Und mit Glück können seltene Meeresbewohner beobachtet werden, die die Bucht berühmt gemacht haben.
the Australian snubfin dolphin. So these guys were only named in 2005 as a new species. They believe somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 only, endemic to Australia's northern waters, and we have the only permanent population on the planet. There is nowhere else you can go on a daily basis and find these dolphins in a tourist setting. Look, they're about 1.40 metre, 1.50 long, light brown in colour, big round head, no nose like a traditional dolphin, and that is all about this overdeveloped sense of echolocation that they use because they live in this near-shore estuarine, zero visibility environment.
Im Landesinnern ist es dann vor allem der Bungle Bungle National Park mit seinen Sandsteinformationen, die aussehen wie gigantische gestreifte Bienenstöcke. Hier findet die Landschaftsfotografin Landy Bradshaw ihre Motive.
A place that makes you feel dwarfed. The biggest sandstone structures that you could imagine, which are kind of beehive-striped domes. On the way to Cathedral Gorge, once again, you just feel dwarfed by the huge structures around you. So you're walking along soft white sand, which people find quite surprising, that there's this beautiful, almost beach-looking sand in the middle of the desert pretty much. And then looking above you is the towering cliffs of these beehive dome structures, and it's just amazing. Sometimes when you're walking along the sand, you have to remind yourself to look up. And when you do look up, it almost hurts your neck because they're so big.
Die junge Fotografin unternimmt oft tagelange Wanderungen in der Einsamkeit.
My lifestyle up here is just exploring, hiking, walking, and there's always something. So it's pretty rare that I would, go for a walk or a trip and come back with no photos. It's every single time there's always something. It's different time of day, different season, and there's always something to capture.
Keine technischen Hilfsmittel bei seinen Touren benötigt Greg Wicke. Er bricht mitten in der Nacht zu seinen Sternwanderungen auf. Wer ihn begleitet, will auf jeden Fall eine Himmelsformation sehen.
Sure, the Southern Cross is absolutely beautiful, and the region around the Southern Cross is incredibly rich in stars. It contains some of the brightest parts of the Milky Way, and you can spend hours just in that region exploring, even with a pair of binoculars, or not even with a pair of binoculars, just with the naked eye, and it's just absolutely divine.
Aber es gibt noch ein anderes nächtliches Himmelsschauspiel, das sich nur an der Küste Nordwestaustraliens beobachten lässt. Die Staircase to the Moon, die Treppe zum Mond.
Well, it is. The Staircase to the Moon is this wonderful phenomenon that happens in Broome where the full moon rises over a wet mudflat. So the mudflat has been wet during the day because the full moon is also our biggest tides. So lunchtime gives us the high tide, and sunset time, which is also moonrise time, the tide's all the way out. But the mudflat's already very wet. So that rising moon creates a direct reflection of that moon in every ripple in the mud. And we have a stairway that comes all the way to your feet.
Es sind die spektakulären Naturschauspiele, die das Leben in den einsamen Weiten der Kimberleys so lebenswert machen. Die Rancherin Alina Woodland möchte deshalb ihr Zuhause gegen keinen anderen Ort der Welt eintauschen.
I like being out in nature. I love the birds, going for bushwalks, watching the sky at night, sunrise in the morning, the sunset in the evening. I'm easily entertained. I don't mind being on my own. Yeah, I'm much happier out here than I would be in any city.
Sie hörten eine Folge der Audiotravels mit Henry Barchet.